Hey, hello. It is Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is the Way Forward in Your Career and Life, because you're only one person, show. So, this is for women leaders who want to create success without sacrificing everything that means anything to them. And today we're going to talk about a topic: how do you create more joy at work? So, it could be that your career is smooth sailing, that everything's going the way that you want it to, that maybe it's that you're in rough seas, so to speak, and things are a little bit choppy and not working too well, and sometimes you really don't have any control, or think you don't, when the winds of change come and blow things up into uncharted territory. So, okay, enough with the metaphor. But you are the rudder in your career in life. Well, I guess I wasn't done with the metaphor. But anyway, it is you keeping you centered and on balance. I just did a client event, and we talked about really creating career success on your terms, and that you're the only one who can decide what that is and when you got there. So when it comes to joy at work, so I've seen so many situations with clients and for instance, executives that, there's no balance whatsoever, that they have gotten to the point where something's got to give, because it's just, there's no boundaries at all between work life and home life, that they're just at work or on work all of the time. And it's really starting to affect them. And, there are other people that I have worked with that, they've been in an organization and they've been really happy. And then there's been a leadership change. And that leadership change has really shifted the culture of the organization and how they experience that organization, but in sometimes even in a way that's toxic. And I know I have been through that myself at one point in my corporate career. A job that I really enjoyed, there was a shift at in the executive level, and the person wasn't a good fit for the organization. And the more that became apparent, the more things started to unravel, and the more the personality started to change and the environment started to change, and it just got very toxic. And even though I heard myself saying, "Oh, I don't want to be here. Maybe I could work from home." Even though I would drive into work and just looking at the building, I would just go, "Oh," I still didn't do anything about it. And I ended up making myself really sick. So it's just, life is too short to do work that steals your joy. And so I want to share with you some tips, because you may be in a place where you are just consistently stressed, that you are consistently overwhelmed, that you kind of don't even feel like yourself. And how do you get out from under that? How do you become your rudder and guide yourself to smoother waters again in your career? So the first tip that I want to share with you today, because I'm all about sharing tips and strategies, I want you to leave with something that you can actually do. The first tip is that happiness at work, whatever it is that you are doing, it's whatever it means to you. It's not what it means to anybody else. It's not somebody else's vision. That would be a hand-me-down. This is about what you want to create, what is fulfilling to you. And but you have to understand what it is that means. And so I want to give you a suggestion, because I want you to leave with something to do. And the first thing I want you to consider is that in your career, happiness, whether you're a careerist, you work for someone else, whether you have a business, whether you're a consultant, you're still the CEO of your own life. So figuring out when your career is ideal, whatever it is that you do for work, when is that ideal? What does it look like? What does it look like to you? And we don't often give ourselves the space or the grace to figure that out. So take some time, find a quiet corner, set a timer for 5 minutes, and just dive into it and figure out what that means to you when things are ideal. It could be that I don't want to work from home anymore. I want to work with a great team. It could be that you want to have the flexibility to travel and not be tied to one place when we get back to travel. It could be that you want to work part-time or go into the office, do some sort of hybrid work. It could be that you want to work as part of a big organization and be a contributor. Could mean to you that you want to do something that's more aligned with who you are and set up your own business. Maybe you want to make a change to your own business. So really getting clear, like if anything were possible, when your career is ideal, what does it look like for you? And how does it fit in with your life? So asking yourself that question, get a journal, write down your answers, just explore it. The second thing, or the second piece of this first tip is that maybe you don't know what's out in front of you, but you just know that where you're at isn't where you want to be, that if people are getting on your last nerve, you don't like the people that you work with, it's a toxic environment. If you find yourself saying, where I am isn't where I want to be. So every time you say that, pivot it. What is the positive opposite of that? And explore it. So if you are stuck, what does it look like to be unstuck? If you are frustrated, what does it look like for you to be happy or fulfilled? If you feel that you have no life of your own, what does it look like when you do have a life of your own, separate from your career? So you want to go to the opposite of it. So these are simple ways to uncover a focus that's forward. Secondly, who are the people that are stealing your happiness or joy at work? And what is it that they do to you? So the first thing I want to offer here is that people don't do things to you. They do things for you. Because you just never know who is showing up to teach you a lesson. And that lesson is something that you need to get, that you formerly haven't gotten, okay, that will allow you to rise to the next level, that will allow you to achieve more in the direction of what you want. But they're the ones who are there to teach you that lesson. And then maybe they go away. I know I've had that happen many times in my life. So people show up for you. It's not what they do to you, it's what they do for you. And just realizing that not everybody who is with you are the right people. Surrounding yourself with the right people is so important. So people only do to you what you permit. So with permission, you're teaching them essentially how to treat you. So we teach people how to treat us. And, we train them by letting things slide, not saying something, not speaking up when we think that we should or we know that we should, even little things. So when you don't assertively stand up for yourself, for your values and your beliefs, then they get away with it. And at that point, they have the power. So you need to take that power back. If you're blaming someone else, so if you're pointing a finger at someone and saying, they're making me miserable, I can't stand working with them, they are the ones who are not allowing me to get to the next level, they're keeping me from what I want, then pay attention to where the other three fingers are when you're pointing that finger. It points back at you, which is where the responsibility lie. Because you are good, you are really good, but changing other people isn't really something that most of us are very good at, okay? So it all resides with changing how we react to them, how we show up as a result, okay? So if you're pointing the finger at someone else, really consider what your role or your responsibility is in that, because you're taking all of that focus and you're putting it on them instead of putting it on you and what you want. And I want more for you than that. The other thing is when you label them, when you say that they are keeping you from something, that they are the problem child, that they are difficult, or even if it's a situation and not a person, then you've essentially planted seeds in your mind that this is the way it is. So when you label it, you look for it. And you look for it in that manner. So being careful about that. The third tip I want to share with you today is on your emotions. So when you are feeling stuck, when you are feeling frustrating, that something has to give, that where you are isn't where you want to be, that there is no joy left in work. And if you're like me, what that looked like, I was living in a jar. At one point in my corporate career, it was like I was living in a jar and I could see out of the jar, but I couldn't access it. I couldn't touch it. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't experience it. I felt trapped. And that was a horrible place to be. And it's the inner work on the emotions. So emotions get in the way of you being able to get to where you want to go. They fog the mirror. They blur the lens of what it is that you're trying to create. They keep you from seeing options that can move you forward. They weigh you down. So having a way to deal with your emotions around these circumstances, around these people, around these events, because otherwise, as long as you are focused on all of those emotions, you are anchored to it. You are anchored to those people, those situations, those events. And so releasing the emotions allows you the freedom then to sail on. So I'm Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and I would love to be of good service to you if you would like some more clarity on what your next steps, your next level, or your next chapter in your career and life may be, then I would love to support you. So if that's of interest to you, let's hop on the phone and or Zoom and have a call. And you can go to claritywithdebbie.com, and I'd be delighted to spend some time strategizing with you. So until the next time, here is wishing you the clarity and the joy that you deserve in your career and life. Bye-bye for now.